afternoon. Welcome to episode 61 of the Fanatic Sports Podcast. I, of course, am your host, Blocker, the hostess with the mostest. I guess that's if I was a hostess. Not important. Today's a big day. I've got, can I call you doctor yet? I know you're doctor in...
Not yet, but I'm a PhD candidate, so got about a year.
Listen, he's almost there, guys.
Yeah.
He's smarter than you.
I don't know about that.
And his name is Joseph, which is in Hebrew means "and God shall add."
Yeah.
So clearly a very special person, Mr. Joseph Bargdill of the Broken Lamp Productions. Very, very excited to have you on. Very excited to chat with you for a little bit. I'm going to pretend to be smart also. One of us is named Joseph and one of us is smart. Which one is it that's Joseph and which one is smart? That's for you guys. That's for the audience to figure out.
I love it.
But man, listen, a pleasure to have you with us. Looking forward to chatting. I know we've been planning this for a little while, so great to finally get it off the ground.
Yeah.
So before we get started, one of the things, so obviously we're a sports show and we call ourselves the Fanatic Sports Podcast because fanatic is usually akin to crazy, or as we like to say, passionate. So, and I know you told me about a couple sports you follow. Give us a story of your favorite team. Doesn't matter, any sport, any level, any place, and tell us your favorite team and how you became a fan.
So the fanatic part of it is very aligning to being a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and all the trials that they go through. It's definitely something I don't know why I keep hanging on, but I think it's because when I was a young lad, we would hang out in the living room and my dad would sit on the floor and we would watch the Cincinnati Bengals, and he liked the Bengals. And so it become kind of a more of a relationship thing that kept going over the years. And definitely, there's sometimes I will not admit I'm a Bengals fan. So at periods, yes, I'm a what do you call it? A weathered fan, I guess. But at heart, I still appreciate the wins, no matter, or the losses, how they have been coming lately.
All right. So listen, as also a smart person, one of the things that kind of interests me, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the things you're doing with ADHD and how it affects the brain, things like that.
Yeah.
But one of the things that interests me the most, and so this is kind of how this is why I always have everyone tell their story, is because one of the interesting things for me from a societal standpoint is I know I do it, and a lot of the people that I brought on and a lot of my co-hosts and everyone that I talk to, it's not the good things that we remember, it's the bad things. I don't know if that sounds crazy or not to you. It does to me. So I'm a Steelers fan. And so, but I didn't realize in my brain that I was actually a Steelers fan. I mean, we had won 2 Super Bowl rings. I got to say I told you so a couple times. But it wasn't until we lost to the Packers in the Super Bowl. It was like, wait, am I a Steelers fan? That's when it rang true for me. So just amazing. But those are the bonding things. So I'm originally from Arkansas.
Okay.
And so I'm a Razorback fan through and through. Which again, I'm with you. This isn't a fun time to admit that I'm a Razorback fan, especially in football. Our basketball team's pretty good. Our baseball team puts out pro players every year, but we haven't won a ring yet. But in doing that, like sometimes when things get too high and we're doing too well, on Twitter, a lot of Arkansas fans will just start retorting and recanting some of the bad times, just the poor plays or unfathomable bad luck that we've had. as Razorback fans. I'll give you one and try not to cry through it. 2018, the Razorbacks baseball team is the best team in the country by far. We're in the finals of the championship. And if you, I don't know how much you follow College World Series, you got to win 2 out of 3 in the last part. And so we won the first game. We blew them out. We've got our fire-breathing dragon who throws 95 miles an hour up to close the game. We got 26 outs. This is it. We're going to win finally win a national championship for our legendary head coach. And so he throws us a 96 mile an hour heater up top. The guy swings under it, pops it up, and it goes over by first base. And literally, we got 3 hands that can get to the ball, and they literally just have to do this, and it falls in between all 3 hands. All right, so that's a momentum killer. Well, it's 2 strikes. So literally, we just have to either strike him out. There's 2 outs. There's nothing like this. This doesn't get any. We're set up to win the ring. We drop the ball. They hit it. He gets on base. The next guy gets him around and walks it off. The next game, we get an ump who's the behind the plate umpire just ruins our chances, and we blow what should have been an easy ring. I mean, it was 2018. That is still too soon to say, almost 10 years later. But just, I mean, those are the times. Nobody even mentions the fact that we made it to a finals.
Yeah.
It's that we got that close and lost. And that's the type of, I don't know how much work you do on the brain, but I would donate my brain for you. So you can help us as Razorbacks understand why we cling to these terrible times. We could go another hour with me just telling those absurd stories like that. But that's what bonds us. That's what I've got so many things. There were people that I was hugging and crying with after that championship that I'm still friends with today. I never knew these people before. Just, you know what I mean? Like it's really interesting. So, but again, for those who have joined us, Mr. Joseph Bargdill, PhD candidate of Liberty University. Now, is that the Liberty that's in Ohio or
Lynchburg, West Virginia?
Okay. All right, very good. So how did you? What will be the official title? I guess once your doctorate is in, once you defend your
Dr. Biggs.
Fantastic.
Titles are just whatever.
Yeah. By the time you get it, it's just like, I did all this? Do I even want it? Or
yeah.
No. Like I said, you've proven that you're smart enough just because you're a candidate for your candidacy for doctorate. I'm far from, and probably will never get to that level. But God bless you. You've done awesome. So one of the things, we were talking about, one of the things that caught my attention was the talk about the book. Was it a book or was it a film about cartel?
Cartel Sunset.
Yes, sir. So now,
yes.
was that going to be is that a film or is that a book?
Well, no, it's a book. But okay. So I was in the movie business and I had made 2 films and I had endured a lot of just hardships trying to manage, distributing them. And I lost about $30,000 after I made my second film. And it was a little rough to take because I kind of thought, well, my skill is video and that's, the beginning of my life. Okay. And I thought I'll make money off of these films. And it just was, it was a different ball game, if you will. And I wasn't ready for it and I was too young. So I have always been writing, and the lessons that I learned from the crazy world of film and distribution, I just don't want to go up to bat against that. So I basically started converging everything into books, and I had a co-author. He passed away, in 2020, and Cartel Sunset was part of him and I's collaboration. And his name is Richard Rydell, and he had a whole bunch of dreams, and he used to transport. Well, I won't say what he transported, but he used to transport things across state lines to different organizations and things like that. Well, he had a long drive, and he would do this in the middle of the night, and he'd seen a lot of different things happening on the road. It's kind of surprising. You drive at night, you're gonna run into whatever stuff you can. So a lot of these were his things that actually happened to him, and so we collaborated and put a story together and kind of blended all of those things, and we wrapped it around almost if you will, an international topic, if you really want to get down to it. Basically, crime, cartel, doing the right thing, and the slogan for the book is crime pays, but at what cost?
Right.
And basically, the individual takes the crime route, but he learns quickly that it's not what he had expected. So that's kind of the book. And it's funny because a lot of people that read my books say, wow, this should be a movie, or is this a movie somewhere? And I'm like, no, but it was a movie script at one time, and I converted it backwards into a book.
Yeah. So, and actually I've been, like I said, I've had my spoon in a lot of pots. Film production is how we got to podcasting.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I've wanted to work in film and produce a film, but I like you alluded to, it's a very expensive.
Yeah.
It's a little too expensive for me to call a habit. A hobby, I should say. And so, but I've had tons of scripts, things like that, that I've written down and worked through. And recently I looked at something and I was like, man, maybe we should turn it into prose and look at it as a book. I kind of had the same thought pattern. I want to get the stories out, but I don't know if the vision is going to come to fruition as a visual. So this might be the best option. But I was applaud you, and again,
thank you.
The deal is, and so and I know it was expensive, but what else have you spent $30,000 on that
well,
may or may not be seen by the most important people? So,
anything creative, especially in the visual side of things, costs a lot of money.
That's right.
And it is very difficult to manage that. And a lot of us, if you really kind of think about it, I believe a lot of us have quite a bit of creative interest and energy, and we don't have a way of putting that into an outlet. And so we don't have the tools or the resources, and it becomes very difficult. And I tell, a lot of people come up to me and said, you came out with another book, Joe? What the heck? Like, where do you find time for all this? I just say I'm tortured. I have a tortured mind, and I am stuck with these ideas, and they keep rolling around in my head. And the only therapy that I have really come to is writing. And if I miss my writing sessions in a week, it really starts to affect me. I gotta write. I just gotta, leave me alone. I gotta write. And it's weird. It's just kind of like, I wish I had that same thinking about going to the gym, but it just doesn't work that way. And I don't know how to turn that switch on.
It's amazing how the mind works. I had that same, man, it's weird. We've had a lot of shared interests and things of that nature. But I too had those same thoughts, like, man, if I can do this for A, then I'll be able to do it for B, and it does not correlate the same. But I think that just speaks to your purpose and your passion. Your passion is your purpose, and your purpose is clearly to write, man, and tell a great story.
Yeah.
And, without question, I'm sure that's something you're doing very well. But since we've moved on kind of from the filmmaking, and it's great that you still get to do the storytelling, but lately you've been into talking a little bit more about. I think in the recent book that we were talking about is the evolution of you in a fast-paced environment. And so I'm very. Once you kind of told me a little more about that, I'm very excited to hear you talk about it because I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm sure all my friends would agree that.
Yeah.
Not far from it. So tell me a little bit about this and then some of the work you're doing with PCE. And if I'm not mistaken, you're also doing, you've got a big event coming up, I guess, in a few weeks here.
Yeah. So my father has been aging, and I wanted to spend more time with him. So back to the Bengals, I was a kid sitting in the living room floor, and he is very passionate about going to flea markets. And so I wanted to assist and help and try to do more flea markets with him. And I started. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 22 years. And the one thing I'm starting to observe in the flea markets over 8-9 years is, wow, baby boomers in the flea market have ADHD behavioral traits. They have a lot of nonverbal cues, and being in the classroom, I see it all day long. I witness it, I see it, I know it immediately, and what I started noticing is the same exact general behaviors in the baby boomer population in flea markets, and it just started to. I was like, wait a minute, and obviously, baby boomers were never diagnosed with ADHD because that term never existed
Right.
through the 50s and 60s and 70s. So I started to take a look at a lot of different things, and I started collecting nonverbal cue data at the flea markets. So I would put a sheet down, and I would say, okay, there's a hi, a nod, a wave, a joke, a smile. I had all of these categories, and I was collecting that data over a year, and it actually started to. I'm like, whoa! So I plugged that into AI. I had to see what AI could do with this, and it actually collaborated a lot of my suspicions where ADHD is in all of us. It is a form of us switching between communicating in a fast-paced environment versus a slower environment.
Okay.
And when you take a look at school, I mean, these kids are stressed out. They change classes every 45 minutes. They get 5 minutes to talk to their friends, then back to a class with deadlines, and then extended work past the class. So you got to look at the stress that keeps piling up over a 9-hour period of time. And a lot of them are, got nutrition issues and not necessarily getting the right food either. And so we have to look at the school, in my mind, being a fast-paced environment. And those behaviors keep showing and showing and showing. And I'm seeing the same behaviors in baby boomers in what I call a fast-paced environment. One example is I went to an auction, and this auctioneer, his family owned the auction, and he would auction for a while and then come back and do other stuff. And his father as well was auctioneering. So when he was not auctioning, he would take his hand and he was trying to catch bids, and he would go like this all the time. And then when someone, he'd be, yep. And if you really start to analyze that, that is a mental check. That is a mental flow, a physical flow. And he is communicating quicker and faster through scanning the room, scanning the potential, bidders. And it was crazy. I did get a chance to talk to him afterwards really quickly, and I said, "Oh, I loved your auctioneering." And I said, "I don't know if you know how quick you go through, you're catching bids." And he's like, "Oh, He just couldn't believe I even brought it up. It's just something natural to him." And most of the time when we're trying to communicate without words, or we're trying to communicate quicker through nonverbal, it is a lot faster. And another really simple example, if I got to go to the bathroom, I'm not going to stop at the front desk and ask where the bathroom is. I am scanning the area for the bathroom signs, and then I immediately know where it's at. So those ways of communicating are extremely faster. And so that's HANCH. HANCH stands for hyperadaptive nonverbal communication theory. And then PCE is premature cognitive expansion. And this explains when you have somebody that is not completely matured in their mind or their brain. It takes normally the age 25 is where your brain starts to develop fully and is completely matured. Well,
this is definitely where my friends would say I am.
Well, I mean, we're all kind of like matured in one area. We have specific areas that we understand and know and can communicate quickly. But in the high school area, there is obviously steps that still have to happen for the mental maturity. And what we look at in here is they don't know how to turn on and off the ADHD. They don't know how to they don't know how to take all of this information from the internet, their cell phones, the digital programs that they're using. They are forced into technology while they're at school the whole time. And it's on. That switch is flipped on. It's stuck. It will not release. And usually what happens in ADHD, and I hate to say diagnosed, but if someone has experienced those behaviors, the prefrontal cortex basically is not in control anymore. So you're not necessarily getting control from that part of your brain. You're basically going on impulse. And so your communication and your methods of communicating are more of that immature process. And a lot of times kids don't know how to necessarily talk or even explain what they're feeling. It takes them a while to calm down before that kind of checks and balances in the brain can kind of switch over. And then it might be 2 or 3 days before they can realize what they were doing. So that's where PCE comes from.
Wow, man. And so first of all, shout out to one of our super fans, if you will. Sarah is she's an occupational therapist, and so
great.
Yeah, so she's watching with bated breath right now.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah, so she's very hyped. And so when I told her you were coming on, she was very excited about that. So
cool. Hi, Sarah.
So definitely shout out to her. But man, we these are the types of things that I honestly, she reached out to me just in passing, and we've become fast friends because of her, her watching the pod and things like that. And she's another that's much smarter than us, and she won't admit it, but I will. And so I've linked on her several times with for my children and just different pieces of information she can throw my way that help me be a better father. And so it's really cool to kind of hear you talk about what about some of those things, especially with the premature cognitive expansion.
Yeah.
And what it does for us, and and you're right. One of the things, like I said, I was never diagnosed per se, but my therapist was like, you probably do, and we would need to test it to make sure. But I could see that, and I think, like you said, it's kind of in all of us that things are that we have our moments where, because the way she kind of explained ADHD to me was that it's kind of I need a B to be able to focus on A, and so and sometimes a C, and so it's part of what we're doing, and it's actually pretty cool to kind of see the advancement. It changes the way you teach. I imagine you probably in the last 20 years have definitely seen the difference in some of the things that you're asked to do as a teacher, and the way that you have to relay information, things like that. So definitely very interesting to see the advancement in that. And I know I've got a kid. She's not ADHD diagnosed, but she's got part of daddy's brain, and so I guarantee you there's a good deal of ahead in there.
One thing that I see as an advantage for ADHD diagnosis is career center training. So that's where I've taught for the amount of time I've been teaching. Okay. The normal traditional school heavily relies on one input method of lesson delivery, which is auditorial. And they don't actually apply the other two methods into the students' time that they're in class. And what happens in my mind is the student is only able to decode 30% of the lesson because they're only receiving it through one learning method input. And when we do testing, kids are different all over the scope when it comes to, they might learn visually by 60%. They might learn auditorial by 20, and then another 20 by hands-on. And this could be all over the place with a wide variety of kids. And what you have to look at is each lesson, in my experience, if I give each lesson through all three learning methods, then I am closer to 100% of lesson delivery in the student's ability to succeed in the classroom. And the career center, any career center, it happens naturally because, okay, here I told you how to pick the camera up and use it. Now you use it, and that's the hands-on. So they're listening to it, they're seeing it, and they're going through all three learning methods, and it actually creates much more success for ADHD individuals. They come from that homeschool failing, they come to the career center, and they're like a student, they're on honor roll, and they're doing that within a 3-month period in their junior year. So seeing that again is more proof again that we have, part of the book, the evolution, the fast-paced environment in the book is the mind, in my opinion, is adapting, and it's adapting to our fast society. So we have fast school, fast society, everything is on hyper speed, and eventually evolution is going to have to happen, for people to keep up with that pace. And I believe 100% that ADHD is an evolutionary adaptation to our fast society around us. Wow. But we're not necessarily teaching at the fast-paced environment. We're not fueling them. I have another analogy called fuel the Ferrari. Okay. And if you look at an ADHD mind, I consider that a Ferrari mind. Okay. And then so you have to fuel the Ferrari the right way. You have to give it the right food, the right rest. You got to let it, drive fast when it needs to drive fast. So that's kind of another kind of take on really changing how education is actually rolled out right now. The Career Center is a good place for kids with ADHD for them to become more successful, but it still could be better, in my opinion. And I think, I have another book that I'm working on, which basically says you're evolving, but your school's not. And, I'm hoping to release that in a year.
That's where we're and actually I wanted to hop back over to that point because one of the things I realized, Joe, is that we are, you said it a bit ago that we're the input that we're using for information is auditory. And the wildest part of that, I learned this 25 years ago, was that, most students learn through visual, right? Through seeing things. So why would auditory be the only way? And, then from there, like you said, each student is so different that we can't expect one cookie cutter method to be the only option. So it brings up, and I think you're on the right path with where you're headed next. Is that it brings up such a the way that we educate our students across the country, the different thought patterns, what we're preparing them for, just a number of things that, to be completely honest, are a flaw.
Yeah.
As a society, we are flawed in the method in which we teach and input education, and take it from someone who's failed enough to know.
My mantra is losing is learning, learning is living, and living is loving. And you have to go through those stages, and you can't learn anything unless you don't fail. And the kids they're trained, or somehow they feel failure is not good, but you can't go through learning without failing.
Without failing, yeah. What did Thomas Edison say? That he didn't fail at making the light bulb 1,000 times. He found 1,000 times not to make.
Yeah.
Something to that effect. But no, you're absolutely right. We've developed this fear of failure, and no, I tell my daughter all the time, hey, and my son all the time, I don't want F's. We don't tolerate F's and D's and C's and F's and D's in our house. But more than F's and D's, because as I've gotten older and understand what I'm doing now, it's not the F's and D's I don't want, it's the lack of work.
Yes, they're working. Yeah. And you know what? If a student is doing something that's gradable, that it doesn't have to follow through this process. If they're showing me, oh, you put video in there and you edit it, I'll grade that. I don't care that you're not following this plan. You showed me that you're capable of that, and so that gets graded. And one thing that's in the book, John D. Rockefeller in 1903 started more or less the Board of Education, and it's in there. Like, you can look up the original statements and the purpose of education in the United States, and it is basically we want people to be in the factory, when we want them to be subservient. We want them to basically do what they're told, and we don't necessarily have a massive manufacturing economy anymore. We're looking at a lot of different things, and it's okay to have that as a lifestyle and a place of work for yourself. But we're still just, the school is built upon that same fundamental thinking, and I feel like we've just put band-aids on top of things, and what we're doing is we're not correcting the fundamental purpose of school. We're just still trying to make changes to it, and I think it's about time that the walls are about ready to fall apart, basically.
You're bowling down my alley, buddy. Yeah. I absolutely agree. And look, I won't sit here and pretend that I was a tremendous student that didn't need a great deal of redirection and a great deal of basically just a correction of thought and what I wanted. But the key was that I did think. And I did put in the work, at times, and it just, like I said, what we're building and we're using a model that's so outdated. If it was a car, we'd be driving a 1956 Cadillac.
Yeah.
And so, in 2025. And so
I think a Model T Ford or something like that, or a horse and buggy.
That's where we are educationally. And so it's something I think a lot about, not even just for my kiddos. My daughter graduates in May, and then my son graduates 2 years after that. And
okay,
boy, howdy, Joe, we're gonna have an empty nest, and I got to figure out what to do with the rest of my life. but to that end, and hey, maybe this is the path we'll take. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say, go down that film path again. Get that going.
You know what? To kind of swing it all the way back around, like I was saying, kudos to you, man. And I know you lost a lot of money, and we didn't see the plan that you had when you sat down and started writing the whole thing out. And I saw a lot of the pictures and some of the work that you did, man. I know it's grueling and it's tiresome and God, I actually had a spell this week where I was just like, man, what am I doing? Is this even working? Is it even worth it? Just a number of things, man, in creating content as you've done and the work you do in general. I think we all go through that phase where you say, hey, is this, am I getting through to anyone? And so that was the thought pattern. I kind of had one of those, and I realized that there it is, obviously, creating what you create, whether one people or 1,000,001 people see it is almost a little consequence once we get it done. And so that's kind of how I feel. And I'm always happy to see that. Lastly, I just wanted to touch base a little bit about, on the 20th, you're going to NCA to kind of talk more a little bit about HANCH and PCE. So very, very cool that you get the opportunity to do that. Talk a little bit about what all you got planned during this event. And how we got there.
So, in the PhD program, they require some of the early classes to submit papers to the NCA, the National Communications Association, because I'm in the Mass Communication and Arts PhD program. So basically, they just want you to get ready for how you pitch your ideas. And a lot of times it's just a kind of like a precursor to finishing your program.
Sure.
Well, most papers in the first couple of classes, they never get accepted. And I'm not going to be, sugarcoating this. PhD level coursework is brutal, and it takes a lot of time. It is exhausting, and I struggled. I still struggle from class to class, and a lot of my teachers were telling me, you can't do this. You can't submit this because nobody takes new theories. And for you to be an entry-level PhD candidate, it's not going to get accepted. And so a lot of I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do what I want. And I submitted it anyways. And I'll tell you, I got, there was a lot of papers I had to rewrite and because I failed them. And took about, I think 3 months to hear back from NCA, and they immediately, got feedback from their panels, and it was inspirational. And so I contacted those teachers and I said, hey, look here, the thing you didn't like, I'll go be speaking over here on this. And they're great, good luck.
But that's a different cognitive expansion to get into, isn't it?
yes. And it's so rewarding because when you fight against the grain and you come out like, hey, I did the right thing. It's always rewarding, and it's kind of, I've had to really kind of think about it and think, am I ready for this? Because I really was just, being kind of defiant, and I had these ideas, and I was just being told to, not discuss these ideas, talk about this for your classes. And I kept saying, no, I'm going to keep using this program, the PhD program, and I'm going to keep building on this. I've already gotten quite there's quite a bit of people that have already yep, I agree 100% with you. And even my editor, she's amazing, and she never really has done an academic book before. And I gave her that, and she's like, okay, you got to give me some time on this, because this is like going back to college for her. And she gave it back to me, and I gave her another book, like a drama book, and she grabbed the drama book and yes, no more of those, please, or at least not for a while. And it was nice because she understood that was something I wanted to make, and I was writing it, and she still loved the dramatic books. Her favorite was Cartel Sunset.
I was immediately. I haven't even had a chance to which I was going to get to in a bit. You telling us where to find everything, but as soon as I saw it, the tagline grabbed me right away. It's like, crime pays, but at what cost? So hello, here we go. This is up my alley, man. I love a good story, man. That's my life. You alluded to it a bit ago, talking about the creativity and getting in and out of it. One of the things that I still amaze myself sometimes. My son and I were headed to work some time ago, 10 years ago almost now, man, when I still lived in Arkansas. And so I said, he said, well, how is it that there was I want to say it was a rapper who now is an actor. He was like, how is he doing all of this? Or I think maybe comedy, as a matter of fact. It was T.I. And he was, so T.I., if you don't keep up with the hip hop world, he started as a rapper, he got into acting, and then from there he went into comedy. And so he does stand-up comedy, and so he's actually going through the throes of it. And so I was like, man, and so I was explaining to my son, I said, we have like a big pickle jar of creativity juice, and you can kind of just sprinkle it in different places. While we might be able to, it's the same creativity that allows him, my son who's a music producer.
Cool.
Very, very, at 16, he's he studies and he's really passionate about it. So he loves it. And so, but that same creativity is what allows you to rhyme words and tell stories. It's the same creativity in the script writing you would do, the same creativity you would need to put that script into prose to make it a book and become an author. Even one of the things I enjoyed, and I do enjoy production. And finding ways, you talked about the 30 grand you spent on, or you lost on the movie. I can't imagine what you actually spent in the process, but finding those avenues to be able to make this thing happen. And so that's creativity in itself. And so, as a storyteller and from one storyteller to another, man, I want to applaud you on air.
Yeah, thanks.
Congratulations on the work you've done thus far, and the more that you do, man, we're looking forward to supporting it. So before we get out of here, so the first thing I want to do before we go, do you get into fantasy sports any?
Well, no, but
okay, good. Smart on you. Yeah.
So I got to tell you why. Okay. I did, and I mean, when you work in the TV business, I'm sorry, you cuss, you go out, you do fantasy sport, you gamble. It just goes with the territory. And one guy was putting all together the little circle of gambling that we were doing. And I won like 2 in a row. And it was, it wasn't much now, but back then it was, $300 or $200. And he ended up spending the money to get his, I don't know, he was running errands. He had to, pay his bills and stuff. And I was like, where's my money, man? I won. And, this was the Kentucky Derby, and then the Preakness. I was in that. I was in that pool, and we just always go from one to the other. And he never paid me. He didn't. I don't think he ever was. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I'm not going to do any more of these because I'm not going to get burnt like that. And just to get into another ring of people that I got to really know somebody to start kind of throwing some money around like that. And, I have a lot of friends that are in, the fantasy football, and they talk about it. And I don't want to hear it because I don't want to get involved. And if I do, go back down that road again. So
I am obligated before we start this. Wrong one. So I am obligated to tell you about. So our podcast hosts a fantasy football league, right?
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, we're in the throes of it. We're in week 9 or 10 or whatever we are, man. Okay. Listen, so before I say anything else, I am obligated to say my co-host, who is one of our teammates. Congratulations to him. He beat the pants off me, Joe, by 80 points. I had a terrible day. I was leading the league in scoring for probably most of the season. And we are, and so I'm going back and forth with him. I'm out averaging him. I out averaging him by a lot. But I had players that had bad days. He had players that had great days, and he cooked me after all this trash talking I'd done. So I'm obligated to say that the Washington Commanders, the 3-6 Washington Commanders, are the best team in football, according to a bet. I too, like I said, being in the realm that we work in for so much time, you end up getting quite a bit. So
now are they getting ready to change some of the fantasy leagues to where if someone's injured or hurt, you can still have the player in the ranks and they're averaging or something?
I've been seeing some things about that, and I know with the way that gambling is affecting sports, there's a lot that they're working on. And so I've seen a couple different methods of things that they're doing, and so it's been interesting. It's been very, very interesting to see all of that. But yes, so I've done gambling. And actually, funny enough, my co-host, our resident angry Puerto Rican, who I'll have to invite you back so you can do some cognitive expansion studies with him.
Okay.
For work as well. But we were in a fantasy football league together, and the same thing happened. The commissioner, Anthony, I believe, won that league, is what he was telling me.
Okay.
After I lost the league, I stopped.
Yeah.
And the guy never gave him his money, which was crazy. It's a mess. But we live in an interesting world, and so we have our fantasy league, and so it's been really cool to get to go through it. It's a creators league, though. It's all about content. Which is why I let Anthony win.
I love it.
Listen, I've got like 3 or 4 of my very best friends in this league, including Anthony, and I've lost to all of them. It's bad. Listen, you can, if you get to look at my brain, you'll be interested. Sarah, like I said, the one of our really close friends and fans, also, and like I said, she's an OT. So she's been through the throes of everything going on with the doctorates and all that stuff, and so she did mention this on. She talked about how she loved to see the adaptive learning. She works in a school system. God bless her. God bless all teachers, man. They all are. You guys deserve the world on a platter for the work that you do. If nothing else, I know my kids' teachers, both of them, having to deal with me as a parent is probably more annoying than my teachers having to deal with me as a student. So she jumped on and mentioned that on YouTube, man. But it is, like I said, you're definitely on the right path. So one of the things we're doing with our fantasy league, like I said, it's all content creation, and so that's something we're working on. And so, look, Anthony's in the league. He's a 1 seed right now, going into the playoffs, and we're going to celebrate whoever the champion is. Obviously, we're going to have ourselves a big party, as you can see with our ticker down here. So very excited about that. We're gonna go back home to where I'm from in Northwest Arkansas and have a big party. That'll be January the 4th. That's week 18 of the season. And so we'll celebrate the winner. And again, like I said, you get ready for this. You'll need, because my brain is a mess. But we'll also, more importantly, we're gonna celebrate the loser. So I'm producing. I designed this T-shirt. What that says on that shirt, Joseph, is I got booty blasted in the Fanatic Sports podcast, and whoever does the worst in our league is gonna have to wear this shirt.
For how long?
Well, at least the duration of the show. So the 4th, when we have our first fan fest, it will be it's gonna be 10 hours longer. However long stays open. Man, the game started at so you're on the Eastern, so it started at 1:00 your time, and they go till 11 is when that last Sunday night game ends. And so we'll be out. We'll be at Sassy's barbecue partying, having some drinks and good food, and we're gonna go live a few times as well,
Cool.
The last week of the season, and that person, whoever it is going to have to wear that shirt via StreamYard or in person. They're going to have to put that shirt on and wear it, man. So
I love it.
That's that, and so where this came from, one of our creators is Freezy Sports. Shout out to Freezy. He gets a shout out every episode because of this. But we started with a trivia show to determine who get picked first in the fantasy league, and he's in the middle of it. He says, "I hope I don't get booty blasted." And I'm a child up here. That's what keeps me young and youthful looking. Is that I'm totally immature, and so I giggled about that for 4 days. It still makes me laugh, which is why it's on the T-shirt now. And so, very excited about that. It's gonna be a big party, man. We're looking forward to that. Wish you could join us, man.
I know. Talking to people across the country, it's great. It really is. And you wish you could be at all the different places. You really do. But it's kind of like, if they invent teleportation, I'll be there.
You be doing us all a favor there, man. I realized something the other day. It's not that I hate being at work; it's that I hate going to work. And so, if I could just snap and there and back, this would work much easier for me.
Yeah.
But man, thank you again, Joe, for joining us. Before we go, tell us where we can find everything from the evolution of you in a fast-paced environment to any and all books, anything you're working on, man. Tell us all that you're doing and everything you're doing. You got coming up next.
Yeah, I have. I got to go all the way back to the book that started all, Time Ripple. Nice. There's volume 1 and volume 2 on Amazon, and I have a third one in the back of my brain I haven't put down yet, but that has been the longest selling book. Then I have Killer Hornets, which is volume 1, volume 2, and there's a third volume on that coming up. That was huge in Japan.
Nice.
Sold a lot of copies. It was very interesting to see a massive purchase over a short period of time with that when it launched out. We have the Cartel Sunset, of course. That's just a single book, no volumes or nothing. I have Coin Code, which is about ready to come out. That's about a guy who invents a machine that basically tells where coins have been through history. And obviously there's some espionage and government conspiracy all wrapped up in that.
Love it. Love it. You're tickling my fancy.
Yeah. And then I got Bullets Before Breakfast. This is a satirical karate kung fu kind of movie. It's about ready to be released, and then we have the other 2 books. There's 2 more academic books that'll be coming out over the next couple of years. So
God bless your editor. She one thing she's gonna always be is busy with this.
Yeah. I forgot about there's a vampire trilogy novel. And that was the first movie we made, was the vampire book called In Cruentus. And that's Latin for without blood. And that is a kind of a love story more than anything else.
Okay.
All on Amazon. Actually, they're all over the country, all over the world. Mm-hmm. Walmart, digital sales. It doesn't bring a lot of money, but they spike up every once in a while. And again, it's just, I have these stories in my head that torture me, and I just have to write them and get them out.
Listen, I'm proud of you for getting it out, man. Like I said, one of the things I realized is that our content, as a content creator now, which I've written music, I've written scripts, I've written, you name it. I tell stories. And that's what I do from the sports world to the arts world, you name it. And one of the things I'm with you. I gotta get it out. I've gotta get this out of my head, or it's going to drive me insane. And so And so it's been interesting these last few months as things are starting to kind of pop back in my head as well. Joe, can't say thank you enough for your time, man.
Thank you.
Definitely looking forward to all the work you do, supporting you as well, man. Look, I'm in your corner. That's for sure.
Right.
And if it's
let me know when you do all them parties. I might try to hop in them lives.
I will definitely bring you on. We'll need somebody smart to bring
cool.
us together.
Thank you. Yep. Well, thanks for all everybody, fans and all. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get more and more. So definitely check him out, Joseph Bargdill, of Broken Lamp Productions, a author, film director, doctoral candidate, most importantly, and an outstanding teacher. Clearly, as seen by just enough of the talking that you've done, man. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you to everybody that checks us out on the Fanatic Sports Podcast. As I always say, tough times don't last, tough people do. Thank y'all for watching the Fanatic Sports Podcast.
I like that. Thanks.
Thanks for being